That's amazing. Are we recording? We are not recording. Yes, we are.
Oh.
Okay, so. Hello. It's your main man, Sean Something to Write to Lewis. And this is Let's Do an Interview episode number, I think, 5. And as you can tell, we are sitting in a different area. I am sitting where usually our guests are sitting. But today, I have a guest who comes with one body. And this is Mr. Nathan from Nonsensical Ramblings. You guys hear us talk about it all the time on the Living with My Wife, Batman and Hip Hop podcast. Hello, Mr. Nathan. Welcome.
Hello, good to be here. I'm excited, pretty excited actually. I've been meaning to get on the interviews and the podcast and everything for a while now. So
The interviews
Oh,
and the
yeah.
podcasts. That's awesome. So I got some questions for you and all that good stuff.
all right.
As per use, you said you watched some of the interview. You know what we do here.
Oh yeah.
All right. So my first question for you
All right.
is, how did you get involved with being a writer/editor at Nonsensical Ramblings?
So when I first came on, I think it started out with two editors, Wes Walker and Cody Butler. They were my two editors for a while.
Okay.
And they had the site, and they were already doing some movie reviews, some music reviews, some game reviews, stuff like that. And it was around the time that Batman vs. Superman came out, and I was just commenting a lot on some of their stuff that they were posting, and at the time they were looking for writers, and they knew I was a really big Batman fan. So
Okay.
they asked me if I wanted to do a review on how Ben Affleck was as Batman. They were already doing the movie review, but they wanted to go a little more in depth with it and just look at him as a character, and they knew I knew stuff about it. So I said sure, and I actually ended up seeing the movie before both of them did, because I was at that movie like day one. Like as soon as they announced the tickets were for sale, I got them, and I went to see it on the early preview. So like not like it comes out on a Friday, but I went to see it on a Thursday technically, because it was like midnight on a Thursday.
Yeah.
And I saw it, and I actually didn't. I ended up writing the Batman review, but I wrote another review before that over what happened in the Nightmare sequence, which was when the Flash appears to
Yes.
Bruce Wayne in his office and stuff like that, and or in the Batcave, and I needed it. I like no one else had posted anything about it. The movie was fresh, and I had just seen it, so I was like, okay, well, I'll type it up tonight, and I'll get them to post it tomorrow, and I got them to post it that day, and it actually blew up on the site. Like it got more hits than mostly because it was topical too. Like the movie had just come out, so everyone was looking for links and stuff on it, and it became one of their biggest, like most viewed articles ever. And so they brought me on like that as a regular writer.
That's awesome.
And that's pretty much how it happened. So I wrote the Batman review, and then they just asked me to stay on, and just any movies I saw. Back in the day, we were like one of us could at least get to a movie a week, or 2 or 3. So when a new movie came out, or something, or anything really came out, we would message each other and see who was gonna do what movie. So like I think I know it was later, but when Suicide Squad came out, like they were saying, okay, who's gonna see Suicide Squad this week? Is anyone going to the opening? And we communicate our times and stuff like that. And if none of us were seeing a movie that week, we'd say, okay, well maybe you should write like a think piece or something like that, or just update the news or something like that. And we'd always have content coming in and out. And that's kind of how I got started with them. And they were just they acted as my editors at the time, because I was just a writer right then. I would edit it. I wouldn't even proofread it. I'd upload it, and I'd just say, okay, you guys go and proofread it, and then you guys can post it. They would take care of all the pictures, the editing, everything like that.
So you guys are serious over there at Nonsensical Ramblings, and you guys go back, proofread, and all kinds of stuff like that?
Oh yeah, we proofread all the time.
Wow.
Actually, we put editors' notes in the drafts and stuff like that, and go back over it and stuff like that. It gets pretty funny sometimes.
That's
because
awesome.
like we learn each other's writing habits and stuff like that. So like Wes is a real big fan of like I forget the name of that comma that comes after and. See, I should know this because I write. The name escapes me right now. I'm having a brain fart. But anyways, Oxford comma. He's a huge big fan of that. But he uses it like so much, and I almost never use an Oxford comma. So I always go in and I take out all his Oxford commas that I see, and I'll put a note in and say, you use way too many commas here. And he'd go back in and edit over. So the piece would, for hours we'd be like competing with each other on like who's got a better idea of their grammar and stuff like that, or what was coherent. And then occasionally we'll also give each other kind of like a hint on the tone of the review too.
Yeah.
Like I know he did one time one of us did, I don't know if it was Wes or me. No, it might have been Wes. I'm not sure. Did like a children's movie review. It was like the Angry Birds movie, might have been. Anyways, he just trashed it, and I was like, I go in and I read it, and I was like, I really liked your review, and it was great, and the grammar was great. And I was like, I think you're being a little bit harsh on because it's a kids movie,
Right.
So I think you're really judging it by like cinema like gold standards, and it's not really going for that. So and he took a look at it. He's like, yeah, I think you're right, because he really did like just wrote this. I mean, he was like a scathing review. And he still, expressed his opinions, but he did it in a much nicer way, I think, and cut it a little more slack because he's like, okay, we're not trying to win any Oscars here or anything like that. So, yeah, we go back over stuff all the time over on that website.
That's
all
pretty
the time.
awesome. Well, that leads me into my next question. Do you feel you could get a job as a journalist by John Jonah Jameson at the Daily Bugle?
As a journalist, yeah,
Yes.
yeah, probably.
Because I don't know if you do photography, so I...
Yeah, no, well, that's the thing. So he was real obsessed with like what was happening, like really topical stuff, and he loved to write like scathing stuff about like just the superheroes or spin questions and
Yes.
stuff over what was happening over Spider-Man and stuff
Could you?
like that.
Would you bring yourself
So
to
would I-
dog out Spider-Man?
Yeah, I think so, because I think I could, because I think he'd like me because I do of that a lot with a lot of my... If I really like a hero or any kind of comic book or fiction in general, then I really get into what they're about and kind of their moral standards and what they say they're about and stuff like that. So if it ever came a time, and normally I'm pretty nice about it, but if there ever came a time where, and especially what he did, I liked that he questioned everything Spider-Man did. So like, if there ever came a time where it looked like Spider-Man was doing something wrong, then I would definitely probably write something about it and be like, yeah, he probably, like, oh, what was it in the old, the Sam Raimi movies, where, oh no, that was edited. Never mind. Well, I was gonna say, like, whenever, Brock, like, had the pictures of Spider-Man, and he was coming out of the bank, and he had the vault, and he had
Yes.
the briefcase, and it looked like he was stealing money. I wouldn't go so far as to edit pictures like that or anything and write a review of it.
That was low.
Yeah, but if I saw Spider-Man do something questionable like that, I would not hesitate to like write about. He really shouldn't be if he's gonna do one thing and say this, he needs to stick to it. He needs not making these questionable decisions and stuff like that. So
Definitely.
I think he'd probably like me, but I don't think he liked me as much as he liked like Brock or anything like Eddie Brock, because I think he'd I wouldn't fudge it. I'd question it, but I wouldn't go as far as to make fake pictures or really put a spin on it that wasn't entirely truthful. I think I like to try and keep my integrity intact mostly.
I can dig that. I don't know if I could slaughter Spider-Man either. So.
Yeah, it's pretty hard, but you definitely got. I think every superhero should be questioned, a little bit about what they're doing and if what they're doing is right, and really kind of they are vigilantes in a way, So
Right.
if they should even be making the calls they do. That was one thing. I know the movie gets a lot of bad talk about it, but one thing I really liked was in Batman vs Superman, whenever Superman was watching all the reviews and stuff, and they were asking the question like, should there even be a Superman, because he's not going by any government, he's just doing what he wants, and should he be doing what he wants? So I'd be kind of that kind of journalist, like
I can dig that.
asking that kind of question.
You'd hold them accountable.
Yeah, I'd hold their accountability more than I would really slam them.
Well, then I can completely respect that, and just on the record, I fucking love the Batman vs Superman.
Yeah,
film.
me too. I really like it too.
It's amazing to me. Whatever, forget the haters. All right. So my next question is, what are your goals personally and as a team with your camp over there, Nonsensical Ramblings? What are your guys' goals for the future with the website?
Well,
Do you guys have any?
yeah, we actually talked about it when I first came on, because they kind of asked me, where do you want to go with this? And they kind of do it as like a more passion project. They don't really, we're not really serious, like if it goes anywhere, like to try and, how should I put it? Like if it goes somewhere, if it does blow up, if we got like advertising revenue or people were sponsoring us or paying us to do it, then we would take it, super seriously.
Yes.
And all that. But at the same time, we're really laid back. We're more casual, so it's not like we're really like, oh, got to make these deadlines, or oh, got to got to be at the movie premiere that night of every single new movie. You know, we're more
You
laid
guys
back.
do it because you love it.
Yeah,
man,
yeah.
Which I feel is always going to give you the best content.
Yeah, so and we feel that way too. So really, the goals we have with the website. I know we wanted to get some video editing segments up. I know we did want to do some podcasting stuff in the late future. Yeah, I know, right? So, and then really just to kind of keep it loose and laid back, maybe recruit a few more writers and stuff like that. And I guess you could say the ultimate goal would be, I mean, what everyone wants to do is get paid to do it, right? So,
Yes, get paid to do what you love.
so if someone wants to sponsor us, then, you know, feel free. So
Feel free. All right, I can dig that. I can dig that. All right, so they might not know what we're talking about when we're talking about nonsensical ramblings. I talk about it all the time on the podcast. I may not do it the justice it deserves. So, you know, from your mouth, tell us, what is nonsensical ramblings?
Nonsensical Ramblings is a review-based website that covers bi-weekly news in pop culture. So any kind of new movie that releases, and it doesn't even have to be necessarily pop culture. We just do movie reviews. That was what we mainly started out on. But we'll also do music, the newest video games. We're really just kind of a review website where we go over everything. But on the same hand, we're not just a review website. That's just what our main focus, I guess, would be. But on the other hand, we've also got these things called think pieces and news updates, where we kind of just say whatever whoever's writing it feels. We'll go over, you know, weekly news like casting calls or director changes, stuff like that. Or just take a look at old movies and how they affected, like, you know, cinema and history or music
I can
history,
dig that.
stuff like that. And that's where we get kind of creative with it. That's more of like a creative writing side. So I guess we really classify us as like a review-based website with a creative writing kind of tabs to it.
Right on, I can dig that. The reason I giggled, man, is I noticed a fly.
Oh yeah, I
And
saw
I
the
see
fly
you
around.
just kind of like trying to be
Like,
professional and dodge it. Also, if I'm smoking you out, man, just
No, you're
feel
fine.
free to tell me.
It's all good.
Right on, right on. Yeah, I just wanted to make sure that they knew.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
definitely.
Exactly what it was, because I'm not the best with my reviews. A lot of times I've noticed that it consists of I fucking love it or that's great.
Yeah.
You know,
We're pretty opinionated too, and each writer kind of digs on each other for what we like and what we don't like. Like I know Wes is a big defender of like the Transformers series.
oh god.
I know, right? That's what I say.
Why?
So no, we make fun of him endlessly for it, but he'll stick up for it because he's all like it's entertainment and they're good movies, but you know at the same time I can't because like he wasn't too big on like Batman vs Superman or Suicide Squad or the DCEU.
I guess he just
So
doesn't
I-
have taste.
Yeah.
Now, Suicide Squad, man, we'll talk about it on the cast.
Yeah.
We'll talk about that. Okay, so if you guys were the Justice League, you know, your little members in your team,
Yeah.
who would you guys be?
Oh man.
And not by personal preference, I'm saying personality-wise. Who are you? Be honest.
Well, there's only 3 of us, so I'd have to
Okay.
pick 3 members for the Justice League.
Okay.
Let's see. Cody's kind of our leader.
Okay.
So he'd probably be around our Batman, probably.
All right.
Because he's kind of like, you know, this is what we're doing, and he's the admin, really, for the site and stuff like that. And, yeah, I think he'd be our Batman.
I can dig that.
Wes is more friendly, I guess. He's more kind of off. He can go off topic a lot. He's very opinionated, though. He'd probably be like a Green Lantern, probably. He likes what he
Okay.
likes, and he's very, very whimsical about it when he does.
Whimsical.
But he'll also be really, you know, opinionated if he doesn't like something. And GL kind of has kind of a mouth on him too. So,
yes.
who would I be? Probably like probably the Flash, because I'm a lot like Wes, and if I really don't like something, I'll really say I don't like it. But I'm also pretty laid back on my reviews and stuff like that. I'm not too. I don't know. I'm a little analytical, so I think it kind of goes with his science side,
Yeah.
because he picks things apart really and looks at all the aspects of it. So I'm more analytical than I think Wes
I
is.
love it.
But Cody, I think, is more analytical than me, so he'd definitely be kind of the Batman and kind of runs the show and stuff like that. So.
I love that you were honest, because if you were to ask me who are we, I'm Batman.
Yeah, right.
Off top, I don't care.
Yeah, they both know I love Batman, so they probably are like, he's lying right now, don't believe him.
Yeah. All right, which brings me to, what makes Batman your favorite hero?
I really like, it's kind of a mixture of what he does along with the way he's written. Because first off, the best way I've ever heard it put, and this kind of goes into him too, but it's for DC in general, is that Marvel makes humans into, it's like reading a comic book about a person trying to deal with also being a superhero. And DC makes comic books about superheroes trying to deal with also being a person on the side.
Okay.
So that's what I kind of like about.
put.
Yeah, that's what I kind of like about, and that goes into Batman. But like I said, it's kind of everything in DC. But I kind of like it because he's, and like most characters in DC, does. Bruce Wayne's more his alter ego. I mean, if you stripped everything away from him, if you took all the Batcave away and the suit away and stuff like that, I mean, he's essentially still this ninja guy. Yes. And he didn't get it. And I like it because he trained, like, you could still even take away his money. He'd still be Batman because he ran off. He didn't just stay. He didn't use his money when he was training. He ran off and kind of came up from poverty and nothing and trained with all these ways. And he had his money to fall back on when he came back. But he only used it for crime fighting. He never used it to be who he was. So I kind of like that about Batman, that he's kind of, if you strip everything away from him, he's still who he is at his core.
Yeah.
Another thing I really like about him is that he, and what drew me to him first, I think, is that he was among all these like gods, basically, like Superman, Green Lantern, Flash, all these powers. And he is still one of the most relevant, a founding Trinity member of the Justice League. Yes, and he's got no superpowers. And, DC kind of makes their average humans a little stronger than the average human. And, Batman obviously is very strong and, peak human condition and stuff like that. But, compared to everyone else he's always working with, I mean, what drew me to him was that he figured out, he used his brain more. He didn't have super speed to rely on. He didn't have super strength to... have to worry about this stuff. He always had to problem solve. And Definitely. I really like seeing that in comic books, was how he was problem solving. And whenever he solves a crime or defeats a bad guy, he uses his head and thinks tactically, how can I do it? I kind of just like sneaky characters in general. And he's got to be the sneakiest in DC, I think. I mean, he can hide from like Superman and Martian Manhunter and stuff like that.
You have to have some skills for.
Yeah, so you got to be pretty good at it. So I like that. I like how he's smart. I like that he's not got superpowers, and that he has to figure it out kind of on his own. And I think it's more relatable.
I do too. Yeah. I think what fuels my love for Batman is especially the way his stories are written. They're just gritty, they're raw, they're dark. Especially.
He's had like all the biggest DC guys on his book. I mean, anyone, Jeff Johns, Jim Morrison, all of them. I mean, anyone Neil
Frank
Gaiman,
Miller, Frank Miller, that?
Yeah, I mean, all of them have been on his comic books at one point, and those are guys that are like have run the DC universe at one point. They were like the editor-in-chief of the DC comic books, and they've all looked at his comic book specifically and written on them. So yeah, he's definitely got some of the best stories out there, I think, for sure.
Dark Knight Returns being my favorite depiction of Batman of all time.
Yeah, that's a really good comic book.
So if you
it's kind of before Frank Miller went all crazy on us.
Yes.
Crazy, and then kind of reeled back in after he stopped selling books, and now it's like, I don't know where he's selling, but yeah, Dark Knight Returns is really good. I always just like all of Batman's catalog, like Year One.
Yes. Go ahead and plug your favorite story.
My favorite Batman story?
Let's do that. That'll be interesting. Of all time. I know Kirk's, just to give him some love, is The Court of Owls.
Court of Owls is a great story.
Mine's The Dark Knight Returns. There is no better Batman. I will tell you that.
I would say... Okay, so it's two technically, but it's all the same story. Yes. And that would be The Long Halloween and Dark Victory. I think would be my two.
That's favorite. Ed Brubaker wrote The Long Halloween? Am I incorrect? I think I'm incorrect.
No.
Let me take that back.
You're going to drive me crazy.
Let me take that back.
Jeff Loeb wrote The Long Halloween and Dark Victory. I believe he wrote Long Halloween. I know he wrote Dark Victory, and I'm pretty
Okay.
sure it was the same writers.
Yeah, I think I'm incorrect when I.
Yeah, I really like Loeb's Batman. I think he's one of the better, if not the best incarnation of him, just because he's more. I like a Batman that kind of does stuff off screen, I guess you could say.
Okay.
So like one of my favorite scenes is in Dark Victory, and it's whenever Batman's gonna go interrogate a guy, like a typical mob boss or something like that.
Yes.
He knows something, and the mob boss is sitting at his desk, and he calls for like his aid or something. Batman just appears for him in the dark room, and all the lights go out, and it's Batman, and he's standing there, and the mob boss is like typically. Batman asks him some questions, and the mob boss is lying to him and stuff, but he's not doing anything or whatever like that. And he reaches under the desk and he tries to pull the trigger of a gun.
Yes.
And the hammers just click. And Batman hears that, and he's like, "Oh, you're gonna need these." And he pulls out the bullets to the gun because he'd already taken them.
Good,
yeah, before he took them out.
He's
And then
so
he's
good.
like, "And now you got a problem with me, right?" And and just gets all serious on him. And it doesn't show you him beating the guy up for information, and it doesn't show you him being in the room, and doing all the stuff. Like taking the bullets out of the gun and setting up the room for him and stuff like that. It just, the implied Batman there, that he's so good that he already knew, you saw it from the villain's perspective, that he already knew the gun was there. He already took the bullets out of the gun.
Yes.
And then in the next panel over, after he says, "You've got a problem with me," he's back in the Batcave and he's got the information. So he basically tortured the guy or whatever.
Down.
Yeah, you know what went down, but you didn't actually see it. And I always like that kind of, it's more of an element of mystery, I feel. To Batman as well, because it's like it leaves you. I think it's better when sometimes comics leave it up to the imagination.
Yes, that's
and they
great.
say, because whatever you fill in your head, whatever he did to that guy or whatever he was there, it's going to be way better than what they showed you on the page because you just got unlimited options, So
You are killing me on this interview. You are spawning so many questions within my head that I have for you.
ask away, man. I got time.
Well, okay. I'm going to ask certain. I'm going to save some for the podcast. But you have spawned one. Now I'm going to spit the next question I had because it kind of goes with this.
All right.
Now you can answer them both separately or you can answer them as one. Okay. So the next question I was going to ask is, who is Marvel's equivalent to Batman? But you spawned the question, the sub-question I guess I'll say. What Marvel superhero do you feel could handle Batman's world? Gotham City could handle the villains like Batman does. And I will go ahead and plug, obviously, my second favorite hero. Now, he's not Batman by any means.
Gotcha.
But do you want to guess?
Daredevil.
Yes, thank you. Is that because you knew my second favorite already? Or?
No, because I knew who was going to be the Batman equivalent. Because they're.
Do you agree?
Yeah, I agree.
I like you.
He's
a good guy.
Daredevil, I think, he's more of a Nightwing level character, I feel. Nightwing's a little stronger than Daredevil, I feel.
What?
Yeah, because
No!
Nightwing can take Batman, and was trained by Batman, and I don't feel like Daredevil could take Batman like Nightwing
Imagine if Stick didn't exist and
Mhm.
Bruce Wayne picked up Daredevil.